Yep.
You said you wanted faculty sort of leadership admin stuff.
Yes. Yep.
You want just like communication, like ways of working to like streamline things.
Yeah.
What other AI sort of
So
use cases
the
you're
big
looking
things
for?
were, as stepping into head teacher, was at the moment I'm kind of relying on my basic access to ChatGPT to just streamline some of my written communication. But I know that there's other people in different roles that are maybe subscribing to like a better platform. So I guess I just wanted to know, should I be doing more than ChatGPT now? The second one was, we are in the process of programming in Malumba, and it's a huge job. We're really starting from and backdating some new syllabus and programs. So now I have a little programming team. What AI can I use that can grab from those online resources and help us to program faster? And the third was, since you're going and couldn't do a PL in our faculty meeting, what can I gift the faculty in terms of the basics for them to maybe save some time as teachers with admin? I often like encourage people to use AI to come up with report comments and things if you've got an idea. But yeah, they're the big three things to start with that I probably need to check out.
Yeah, brilliant. So we're looking at better use, or looking at more than just the basic use of ChatGPT.
Yeah, I'm using it and getting so much out of it at the moment. And I'm finding it's pulling from some of the right places. It seems to have a bit of Berry Street knowledge and a bit of like, it can grab things that are like using the right wording. But I just wondered, I know people have mentioned Claude, especially now, end of financial year, what can I invest in now financially? That is going to be my best friend.
Fantastic.
ChatGPT is really helpful right now. But I'm only on the free version, cuts me off pretty quick, but I'm happy to kind of go down the path of, I did look up online what are the best for education, but it does, I guess, point you in the England, America sort of realm. So I just thought what you would know.
So there's a couple of quick wins we can like just straight up hit. So what we've been training the last couple of weeks people on is called the AI minimum toolkit.
Okay.
So let's not think about a million programs for different things. Let's just go on one that you like, or one you just test. Have you tested, say, the free version of Claude?
No, I haven't. That was where I was going to go if I didn't catch you. That was my next step, but I wasn't sure if you were just recommending that as a leadership, or, I mean, it is still leadership, or you still think that will be helpful?
So there's a couple of like use case. ChatGPT is fantastic now because it's getting so much support. Claude is sort of leading the way in regards to written kind of communication kind of stuff,
so
and coding. So like very, very nuanced, detailed. It can, use artifact documents and things like that to craft your entire style of writing. And you can do that in ChatGPT. You can do it in anything. It's just more the user interface. What are you more liking?
What's the cost for that one?
They're both about $35 a month. So for just a bit over $200 a year, tax deductible. Like the reason I say Claude, it's because it's the one I went down first paid, and then I put Jackie on it because you can do a thing called projects, and projects are where you put in a ton of documentation. And it's stored there. It's like your knowledge bank. And then you're consistently referencing a certain style of writing or certain task. And you can do that in ChatGPT. They're called custom GPTs or projects as well. It's just a different way of doing it. Different language. They all do some similar version of it. But a quick win would be testing out the free version of Claude. And then I can always send you a training. It's like a 10-minute, this is how you use Claude at like a good level. And that, like, it can help with everything. Any of them can help you with everything, like from what you're talking about before, programming and writing and communications.
Because programming is complex, hey? Like, there's no one way to do it. So you can put in your structures of how do you program, the models that you put in, the templates, everything, and then it'll craft. So you can talk to it, you can prompt it saying, this is an old program I like the look of, but this is the new syllabus to be putting into this format, and you can go and you can keep prompting to correct it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And so, because in Claude, and the most powerful thing, what comes up is you put in your project files, like all your knowledge bank, and then you put in a prompt exactly like you said, and what it'll do, if it's a detailed enough task, it'll create what you call an artifact, and it's this window that consistently edits as you make tweaks. Okay, so it's one document and it tweaks the document, and that can be all different types of visualization, tables, charts, infographics, all sorts, depends on what your output response is.
And it's all saved, hey? So it's also like a cloud?
It's a cloud. So
I notice my free ChatGPT, I generally cut and paste if I'm going to keep it, because then it disappears.
Yeah, so this you can actually integrate with your Google Drive as well.
Oh, amazing.
So you can just directly like link straight in. So
I put links in?
Links, and it can actually just, you log in with your same account.
Oh, it's a Google thing. It's a Google platform?
Not Google, but they've just partnered up.
Okay.
So Anthropic is the company that owns Claude. Yep. But you can, sign into your same accounts and they all can integrate.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's one of the reasons I've gone Claude.
Yep.
But you can do near on the same stuff with ChatGPT. Yep. Just pay for one, test it out for a few weeks and what you like.
Perfect. I'll definitely do that. That sounds great. And the paid sounds perfect, because the thing that I'm missing at the moment is the cloud thing. I'm doubling up. I'm scripting it, putting in my Google Drive. We use Google Drive to communicate as a faculty. We have a one shared drive that everyone has access to, and I update it every day before 8 a.m.
Yep.
Absences. And then I use ChatGPT I dump everything from the calendar, pretty much like a principal's email, and then that pops in from a lumber. So at the moment that's all working fine.
So those systems that you've developed, you've started to figure out the flow and the way you do it.
Yeah.
So say you know that calendar one you're just talking about, that could be a separate project. So it spits it out in a certain way to communicate. Okay. Or if you want to summarise points for your team, here's your action points this week. Here's some key info, so they don't have to read the 10-minute document. Yeah. If that's a consistent thing you do, you would just create a project for that. And have the standalone prompt that you'd have for that, and then you just copy.
So then I could have that going, and then if I could get the school calendar or an excursion or whatever, and I could dump that in as information and ask it to put it in the right dates or something.
Yeah, and you can actually get it to populate in your calendar if you wanted to, or you could use it as a cross-referencing like tool, anything like that. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So. Yeah, projects is super powerful because you can just reuse them, and you can put a context, like way of working into it. Yeah. So it can be completely different to how you communicate with parents on this one compared to your projects for your team communication. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So super easy. Yeah. Once you got that down packed. On the programming side of things, now. There's two ways you can do, say, any of these versions. So you could do Claude, ChatGPT, Google Notebook LM. There's a myriad of programs. But if you chose one, and the thing will be next year, when you put in your budget application for your faculty, put a budget in to buy one license. Just one license. Okay, it's an educational use. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so one license, you don't need one for everyone. No. You just need one and then one login. So you just create the login, and even if it's
So if we have a Malumba login and a Malumba license to one of those platforms, like Claude, then Lenny, Greg and I as the programming team can have access to it at different points and work on it.
That's it. Okay. And you could all have different project files set up. So you could have a programming for stage 4, programming for stage 8, and... So
basically that's where we should be programming?
You should be using it to help structure programs and finesse and link.
That's the bit that I want, get that.
Because you guys would have backwards mapping from mainstream programs, which is the challenge.
And it's different every year depending on what kids you have. So it's not like a mainstream where you program and then it just dumps. It's so different every year.
That's it.
If we could prompt to say, I now have, especially with certain disabilities, program this life skills unit to suit these 5 boys I have this year, it could probably,
That's it. Yeah. So you can have a certain way of, here's the year stage 4 English program, you could set that as a project, and then you can put in the PLP or the personal learning plan for each student, de-identify it, and then You can literally individually program or provide methods of working with that kid against that program. Super easy.
Great. And that's all legitimate. We can do all that. Yep. Perfect.
Yeah, because when we're talking about, creating work or using people's data or information, we just got to put like the ethical lens over the top of it. Is this going to help everyone? Yes, because it'll differentiate the program for everyone. Am I putting in core information that, is confidential? Well, only if you put in, addresses, profile pictures, student name, all that kind of stuff. That's it. And then you can just categorize on your role. Here's student A, here's student B.
Perfect. Yeah, and that's a good chat to have when you're doing the PL, is just that confidentiality side. Which I highly doubt will come into any of it anyway, because it really will be just more from time saving.
And that's a huge one. You would save, hundreds of hours if you do.
That's what I feel like I'm needing at the moment. Stepping into this is just hundreds of hours of time saving.
So that's one strategy you could go down. Another strategy is to use the department's EduChat. Have you tested it?
No.
So
how do you access it?
Just through the portal. If you just go portal and just type in EduChat, EDU chat. It's came out last year and it was pretty rubbish, let's be honest. Team's working hard on it, and it can do quite well, and you can upload stuff and because it's department owned. So that's another option for that programming side, because it's got the department resourced like information in it. All the learning session, explicit teaching, HPG, all of that's into it. But you just got to think of that kind of program, like EduChat or, PO or all these different ones. They're like a white label. So if you're not too familiar with software term, you've got ChatGPT is your main, and then a white label would be a very specific use case company put over the top, and it's like a banner. And it means it's still accessing ChatGPT, for example, but it's only for this specific thing, education, rather than the whole platform.
It's filtering?
So that's a good one to test. Even do a faculty meeting, like 30 minutes. Hey, look, let's try to do a lesson plan. Let's do
especially if it's used for just like editing your writing. So I know with teachers, I guess one thing would be like central incidents. I would love it if people could ramble, have it, put it concise, action taken, something like that. Is that okay for us to use it like that?
I'd use EduChat like that
for that
and test it.
That's how I put my notifications in, just to make sure that all the fluff's gone and the action is clear.
That's it, and get rid of the emotion and
so that it can definitely upload ChatGPT.
And you can do that in any platform. Any. Again, it comes down to that ethical banner of like, write as you would, just keep the kid name out of it. But you can sort of come up with a prompt example. Go, here's the incident, here's the student, and here's the template. I want you to output this no longer than 50 words. So it's not like
cutting it down. Perfect.
So that just comes down to ways of working rather than specific softwares. So EduChat, ChatGPT, Claude, any of those can do that. That'll save you a bunch of time.
Perfect.
Was there any other major sort of time savers you can see?
Not that I can think of right now. I guess I need to have a look at Claude to see now, and then just kind of see what lands on my lap in terms of like what I've had to do at the moment. That's taken me a lot of time is things like duty rosters and things. So I'm just figuring out where, because our duty rosters are quite complex. They're tables, they involve rotating. But I'm sure now that you've kind of said, give me an idea of them, I just need to work on my prompts. Like, here's my duty roster, here are the 10 names, maybe turn them into person 1 to 12, rotate them so they're all doing the same minutes. There's just a lot of time tasks.
So that's a perfect use case for any of them, but have you got a prompting structure? Have you seen any?
No.
Okay, so we'll jump on in a second and I'll show you some basic ones. There's a really simple one from Google. Google put out a 101 prompt engineering guide. It's a massive document, but in the nutshell, it is persona, give it a job description. You are a teacher, you are an admin executive doing rostering, for example. Give it a task.
Oh, right.
Then give it the context, sort of like remember.
Support unit public high school or
Yep,
something?
yep. And it's a fortnightly rotation, and we need X amount of minutes, and like as much detailing in that.
So it's telling you how to speak to it.
Yeah, and then you put in the format because constraints enable accuracy. The more constrained you go, the more specific it will.
That, because then I'll keep re-prompting. So I guess the more you put into that initial prompt. Yep.
Yeah, and then once you've got it roughly based, you can do what we call create a meta prompt, and it's one overarching prompt that is reused over and over and over again.
Oh, right.
So once you've got the structure and you've done it and this worked, you can literally just ask the question, based on our current feed and the output that I've just finalised, write a meta prompt for this entire process so I can do this over and over and over again. You can copy that and you can put it in the knowledge bank of the project if you're using Claude, for example.
Okay, great.
So I can show you that real quick, and it'll give you the context of like all these things. Once you do one, you can just move to your next, and you'll smash these little tasks out, maybe 10, 15 minutes at a time.
Like I said, having no memory bank in my free one at the moment is what's getting me, but I'm just playing around with having a memory bank would help because this is only my first semester. Yeah. But I'll start repeating myself soon.
That's it.
So,
and you'll find that there's processes that you always do.
Yep.
And that's where these things come in.
Yeah, great. Okay, perfect.
And then you'll find that there'll be more time savers the more you just start realising what it can do.
Yeah, okay.
And getting your simple prompts down.
Okay.
Yeah? Yep. So I don't want to overwhelm you, but I'll show you a little bit of Claude just so you got a bit of a context.
Yeah, I've never even seen it.
So do you want to scooch over? Right, so this is Claude. This is, if you had the free version, that's all you'd see. But because I got the paid version up here, I've got projects, and then my projects are specific things I do all the time.
Okay.
Assessment design, I created this for how do we write assessment notifications and rubrics. Yep. And 4 C's lesson planning, things like that. If I want to, do LinkedIn posts based on whatever I'm doing, all sorts.
Wow, and it's really helping with all that sort of
stuff. CV writing, like everything.
And it's stored there then.
If I jump into just the CV writing for example, all that is all the project files that I've put in there to help me write a CV. So it's like all these are the saved ones. Yeah. So if I open this was me, I'm pretty sure. I needed
is that your prompt?
Yeah, this is a prompt. I need to write a compelling job application using the XYZ framework project process outcome. Below is my achievements, and they've been attached, and this is the structure. So that would be considered a meta prompt because I've done the process enough times and I've got it to identify the process, and now that's a meta prompt because all I do is fill in the blanks. Head teacher,
right. So the prompt comes with the blanks. Gotcha.
Yeah, and then it goes. Away it goes, and it does the thing, and because it's a full-on article until I was done. So a project is super simple. It is, create a new project, you title it roster, timetables, and then you can give it some context here, equal loading for teaching duties, for example, and you can go as much or as little as you want. You don't even have to put in anything. Create a project, and then you just upload all the documents that you'd need that are consistently referenced, not the ones that change all the time.
You're telling it how to access them? Like you might put 2 old ones in and say, I like this format of 1, 2, 3.
You could go examples, and then they're in. And so the optional instructions, when you open it, you just think step-by-step reasoning. Like if you wanted to give it you're going to look at this example, you're going to go to this, but you don't have to do any of that.
Okay.
And then you upload all your knowledge bank so that it can be from your Google Drive, go straight to it.
Oh, right.
Or you can add text or straight up upload.
A Word document.
And then you can do it over here. This is your actual context window where you start writing. So this would be, we follow, the process, which is persona. So persona would be, you are a head of admin, teachers, and task is, you are tasked writing a duties roster for 15 staff, and attached will be their current timetable. And then you go constraints, you know, or context, and it needs to be, you know, 3 duties over 5 weeks, you know. Need to have a 30-minute break, you know. You just go as detailed as possible. And then you just upload, because you've got your context, that is like stuff that you're consistently referencing, the project knowledge, but then you can upload individual things for that specific time, and then you can just upload whatever you want. I don't know, and then away it goes. And so I'll just give you an example. Like, one of the things I do is for content creation, for example, I basically I've got a YouTube one, got my writing structure, which is, and then like, how do I want it put together? I would record, you know, a video. I would then upload the transcript into the video, into here, and I give it this basic prompt. You are an expert copywriter for SEO. Based on the transcript, write a title and a description and 3 hashtags, and then bang, bang, bang. And then I just copy it straight into the platform, and then done. So that you put that into the context of, you know, lesson planning or for differentiation. You are an expert support teacher, and the context, the knowledge bank would be, here's some key differentiation, like Berry Street, here's some 4 C's.
Is it only pulling from what you're uploading, or is it also pulling from the internet?
It also can pull internet. So I could say here, I said here, write the title's based on Alex Mosey's podcast, so it started searching the web and found his style of doing things.
You like how he titles his, gotcha.
And then I basically could say, I want this to be based on the episode and the top of the funnel, which is like broadest audience. Give me one, and that was now that's the title, because I didn't really like the other ones; they were a bit buzzwordy. So now there's a title, and this is the reasons why it chose that.
Oh, and it gives you the reasons.
Yeah, and you can go further and further and further.
Does it save every bit of history?
Yeah.
And
so
can you delete?
So if you go into the chats, you can see I've got 291 chats, and they're
since starting.
Since starting, and they just keep going, and you can search them, and you can So that's the chats. But if you want to go even more specific, you just go into your projects, and for every project, you'll have, if I've even just done anything with them. No, that's why that one was empty, because I was starting it, and then you know. But if I go to any of them, strategic planning, here's all my strategic planning documentation. Here's my, you know.
So you can put PDFs in,
Yeah.
You can read through that.
So if I go, you know, I put in the school plan, I've put in all sorts of stuff, and then this is what I'm talking about, of like an artifact. It's like, it's a big document, and it's updating stuff as I go.
Right, so that's updating.
Yeah, so like there was all these versions, see version 3, and then I updated it. I said, no, you need to use the QDAI framework, write this strategy, keep it short and succinct. So you can go back at any time. So yeah, that would, like for programming, you'd have a project file for how you want to write, and you'd have your concepts or your strategy you might want to even include. And if you can't remember them, you can't think of them, you just ask and it will.
Is it good at formatting? Like I can see it's formatting a nice Word document there. Have you got anywhere you've like formatted like tables? Like the school plan, you know how like tricky it is?
So I'll just add to this one and see, brilliant, write this in table form. So
export it, just cut and pasting, is that working?
Yeah.
Download the document?
So it'll upload in whatever, like if I said no, it needs to be 3x4 or, you know, and be specific. But you can copy, you can save as PDF, you can download as Markdown.
Has like, I've noticed sometimes when I'm copying from ChatGPT, the format's changing into my Google Drive. Is that this one better associated with Google, or? So
this one is a little bit. Sometimes I actually just literally copy like that. But what you're finding is there's a thing called, what's it called? Artifacting? No. It's basically putting in copyright infringement stuff in the back end of the text.
Oh, right.
So if you pasted it into a raw text editor, you'll see these tiny micro gaps everywhere.
I see that,
That is ChatGPT's version of copyright control, to try to flag people using full AI as their own work.
Gotcha.
So there's an easy way to get around it. You just paste it into a text editor and then you delete the stuff.
That's what I was doing. I was just noticing I was creating it, it was looking good. I was pasting it into Google Classroom, it still looked good, and when I clicked save, it was formatting wrong.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was a glitch.
No,
but
that's a deliberate thing they're doing.
to make sure I go in and gotcha.
So I find it's pretty good. You can even publish this, so people can get that specific Claude thing if you wanted to put it out there.
Okay.
Or you could say, there's other ways you can format. You can turn it into a website and you just tell it and it'll turn it into a live infographic.
Right. I think that's capacity.
Yeah, I thought so.
Now.
Yeah, no, that's.
And I don't think there are other questions will come until I kind of jump into it.
Yeah, so I asked before, like, because obviously I'm leaving. What's the gift? What can I give the faculty?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to give the whole school access to my paid community for free.
Great.
So, have I got it open? I don't think so. There's this place this is where I'm going to put all the recordings and things and any future content that I make.
Okay.
So all the course stuff, it'll be in this platform. I've just got to fix my billing up. Yeah.
Yep.
So in here, this is where like all the people who are in here at the moment have paid to get access. But I'll give the school a bit of a leaving gift if they want it. Yep. They'll have access to all this. So AI. This is where I'm putting up my recordings for the last 3 or 4 workshops that I'm doing.
Okay, cool.
And anything in the future, like any masterclasses I run or any more things, like here I've got all my old recordings and intros for how to do things, and like that Claude example I was just telling you about, I got a 10-minute video on how to use Claude. Like it'll be all there.
Cool.
And the thing about it is you just ask questions on here.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I'll give access to everyone for that. And so if there is any questions that you can't answer, for example, you can send your team straight in there and they can ask and then I can answer.
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's all good.
Great.
Yeah. Unreal. Well, see how you go.
Yeah, well.
And, you got until Friday. If you've got any major, like, hey, I want to sort this flow out.
Yeah.
Happy to come over and just, get that structure.
Cool. Okay.
But,
I'm going to have a go with it anyway. But I'm glad you've recommended Claude.
Yep.
And before the end of June, I can jump on and buy it.
Yeah.
To know for next year too. We'll invest in it as a faculty. Thanks so much.
Yeah. No, pleasure.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, it definitely does that. Definitely does that. Yeah. Exactly.
And that's the cheat sheet, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. It's
man hours in doing all the jobs.
And once you get your systems down. Yeah, but it's hard to get them down first.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Like a good 12 months to get it all down, and then it should get easier. And I'm sure this will all evolve in that time.
Yeah. But it's just one little thing, and then.
Or maybe I could speak to it.
You can. You
Can you?
Yeah, you can. You can just word vomit at it and then tell it to clean it up.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's really handy.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. Thanks for your time.
Pleasure.
All the best.